Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United transfer news on what is a very weird night. I mean, I've not been with you all day. It's my first live show since, I don't know when. Did I do the last night show? No, Terry did. I've not been live with you for ages. So, weird day. Man United have reached an agreement with Baleba, apparently. We'll talk about where that's coming from. Man United won't be replacing their goalkeeper because Onana won't go. We'll talk about where that's coming from. Roma have made a big bid for Sancho, but he probably won't go. We'll talk about where that's coming from. And Rasmus has agreed to go to Milan, but he hasn't, but might go to Fulham, might go to Dortmund, might stay at Manchester United. So lots to get into. Also, the preview is, we're sort of struggling to get the content out quick enough. So you might have seen our season preview, which you can check on the homepage with Beth, Mords and Ricky. Really good, really enjoyed that. Watched that this afternoon. My preview for Arsenal is dropping at 2 a.m. UK time. So I'm just telling you that's where it's going to happen. M. Parker says, congratulations on your A-levels, Mark. If you know, you know. I mean, look, I was going to say it anyway. I have an oldest daughter who I don't really mention because she's not into football. I had to collect her A-levels today because she's on holiday in Greece. And I never did A-levels. And she asked me to open them, and I felt like they were I felt like what it would have been like to do your A-levels because I never did it, and I regret it. And she got 3 A's. She obviously gets her intelligence from me. No, she obviously gets it from her mother, but she's also worked ridiculously hard. So she'd be very embarrassed by this because she's not interested in football and she's not interested in any of this, and she's living her own life. But I'm very, very proud. She's worked really, really hard, and I think congratulations to everybody who has done that as well. And if you didn't, look at me. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. You know, then people who go, I didn't get any A-levels and look at me now. No, I wish I had. But if you've not done as well as you wanted to, there's always another try. So well done to everybody in whatever you've done. Right, I want to talk about this Baleba bid, but we are sponsored by FOTMob on the show tonight as well. If you haven't downloaded it by now, do give it a go. Links in the description, or you can scan the QR code. It's free. What I'm actually going to do, rather than just read out a promotion, is actually just utilize how I utilize it, because this is the big thing about FOTMob. It's really good for this sort of stuff. So if I get my little phone on the screen there, you basically can get all your, oh God, nearly tipping a glass of Guinness Zero there. We don't want to do that. Go into there. I've just shown you how you can get your screen on OBS. So there we go. So that, like, look, you've got all your stats, all your games. You can go into there. Napoli have had a friendly today. McTominay fell off. He didn't score. But you can get all your news as well. So all your transfer news, there's stuff there about United. There we go. Serie A club, we're going to talk about that in a bit. Benjamin Sesko, all that lovely stuff. You can check out your leagues, get all your stats for the Premier League, all your fixtures, everything like that. But what I like is the statistical element. And they've got a brand new thing that's coming out for the Premier League this year on FOTMob, which is physical metrics. So distance covered, sprint speeds. I've always wanted this. So this is brilliant. I'm really looking forward to this for the weekend, and we're going to use it on games and stuff like that. But also, statistically, you can go and search a player. So Baleba, it shows you what I've been... I don't know why I've been searching Ezzy. Don't know why I've been searching Ezzy. But you can go and look at Baleba there. 21, it gives you his height. It tells you what he's good at, shot attempts, this, that, and the other, what position he plays. But it's the stats I like. So I'm not interested in the shots, but I'm interested in this per 90. So there you can see, I mean, obviously, accurate long balls is pretty good. Cross accuracy is pretty good, which is weird. Successful dribbles, very good. Dribble success we know about. Fouls won, duels won. Yeah, interceptions, all very good on that. And doesn't commit many fouls either as well. So check out FOTMob, links in the description. It's used by over 20 million users worldwide. You can be one of those as well. Fantastic little thing, and we'll be using it a lot anyway. So download it and give it a go. Lovely stuff. Thank you very much to FOTMob. You can scan the QR code next to me. Right, I want to start talking about Baleba. I want to catch up on all the news with you tonight. There's a lot for me to catch up on because I haven't been live with you for basically over 24 hours. Baleba deal agreed. Okay, so this came in. Okay, I'm going to translate the post. Seafoot Cameroon exclusive. Manchester United and Brighton have reached an agreement for the transfer of Carlos Baleba. According to our information, the Cameroonian is expected to sign with the Manchester United club in the coming hours for €112 million The official announcement will follow later. Top reply, Grok. Is this source considered reliable? Seafoot Cameroon is generally reliable for Cameroonian football news, especially transfers. They accurately reported Baleba's 2023 move to Brighton ahead of time. However, this specific claim of a done deal isn't yet confirmed by any other major outlet. So, look, yeah, I mean, look, it's been spoken about on social media tonight. I've got to say, I think Fabrizio has rubbished it, and I think that a few other people have as well. With regards to Baleba, I've got to say that updates from the people I would say might be worth listening to are very, very confusing. You know, I sort of... I was listening to Terry's show this morning when he was talking about alternatives. There can be no alternative. I mean, it's your show tonight. You can drive it. Obviously, I've got to catch up on a few things, but obviously get your points in. But there can be no alternative now. It's too late. Like, I don't want there to be any alternatives anyway. But I think it is Baleba or nothing. I don't think there is any time for us to go off and do anything else because it's really. Sorry, I'm just getting rid of an idiot in the chat. There you go. Yeah, it's really interesting because Wharton has been mentioned and Yulmland has been mentioned, but it is the 14th of August. It's not the 14th of June. And I would imagine those two players would be as difficult to do individually as Baleba. So I don't think we've got any time to do anything else. Now, back to Baleba. I was reading a few things today. Obviously, Ben Jacobs was on the show before saying that talks have already started. They'll continue. United don't have a price and Brighton have a number internally. If you get within the ballpark of that number, they will sell, but you're bidding blind, which is obviously interesting. I was then reading what I think it was it Laurie Whitwell was talking about it as well. He was saying clearly finances is the big one. Brighton will say he's not for sale, but he will leave at some point. They've got to give him a contract. He's got a contract until 2028. I don't think Brighton have a set price for Baleba, and that is part of the issue. United will only bid if they think they can get something out of it. He also said that he's one of the people that thinks it's unlikely that this deal will happen, and he's not the first person to say that. Talks are continuing, as per Ben Jacobs. He said it's still not... Brighton is saying he's not for sale, and there is quite a bit of scepticism at Manchester United if this can be achieved. Still, it has not been totally shut down. This leads me to believe that you can never know, but I'm in the camp of it being unlikely. There's ways this can be sorted. A crucial point is the player, and he's keen on the move to Old Trafford. So, we're going to talk about the goalkeeper in a minute, which I find even more baffling. And I suppose this is the point, isn't it? If we don't get Baleba and a goalkeeper, this is a 5 out of 10 window for me. If we get Baleba, it probably goes up to 6 or 7. And if we get a goalkeeper, it goes up to 8. So I'm sort of... My mindset is that we're going to get this deal done. That's my belief. Stay calm, etc. I can explain that for you. But I've got to be honest, in relation to Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio Romano, what Laurie Whitwell has said there, there's scepticism at the club that the deal can get done, and I think it's unlikely. That's what he was saying. I find that absolutely fascinating because I don't really get what it's all about. I really don't. So I'm sort of confused as to what we're meant to think about this, because if we're to believe what's being put out, we've wasted time on this. If Manchester United are sceptical they can get this deal done, what have they been doing for the last week and a half? That's what I'm sort of looking at it. I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate, of course, but what's your thoughts on this? I mean, listen to what Laurie Whitwell's saying there. There's scepticism at Manchester United that this deal can get done, and I'm in the opinion that it's unlikely. I'm completely the opposite. I'll tell you my stance for what it's worth. I mean, I haven't been to university, got my A-levels and studied to be a journalist, got into a newspaper and made the coffee for everybody and then worked my way up. I haven't done all that, but I've watched football all my life. And I think when David Ornstein says that Man United are going into talks with Baleba, my naivety is that if we're talking to a player, it means we want to sign the player. And if we want to sign the player, we're going in eyes open as to what his price is. My point being, more bluntly, before you even talk to Baleba, you're going to know Brighton don't want to sell him, and you're going to know you're going to have to pay £100 million. So what have we been doing for the last week and a half if we're going, nah, we don't think we can get him because they're going to want £100 million? We know the price. So my belief is that we're going to get the deal done because we've gone into it eyes wide open. If we've gone into it going, well, we've had a big old chat with Baleba and he'd like to come to us, but Brighton wants £100 million, so we can't do it. What was the plan? Trying to get him going on strike? I don't want a player that goes on strike. I think it's disgusting when players go on strike. I don't want a player that goes on strike. I want us to go into this deal and, get it done. And I think that I believe we will. I don't believe the negativity. I don't believe that we are going to pull out. I mean, look, I'll go back. I'll repeat myself on this. I'll go back to what I said when the story of talking to Baleba broke a few days ago, or a week and a half ago now. I saw somebody on social media say this is spin. We're spinning a story that we know we can't do to kill a couple of weeks off because we're not going to do anything else. And if we've done that, then the shit will hit the fan. But I don't think we have. And look, maybe I'm being naive here, but I've put trust in Ineos and the Glazers here. We've publicly stated that our midfield isn't good enough and we want to spend a lot of money on a midfielder. If we don't go and get a midfielder, what are we basically sending the message of? That we're not good enough. So I think we will do something. I really, really do. I don't believe we've got an agreement reached. I don't believe that we're about to get a deal done. But I have to believe that we're still in this deal because I cannot believe that we've just gone and spoken to a player for a week and a half and then Brighton says 100 million and we go, oh, we didn't realise that. It would be stupid. It would be absolutely stupid. Ornstein knows transfer business better than anyone apart from Romano. I would trust them over any other journalist, says Mike JW. Watching the Jacobs interview, I call bullshit. We sign him now, not potentially laying groundwork for next season. It's literally now or never. It was interesting that Ben Jacobs was talking about Man United maybe going for Baleba a year early because Bruno could go next summer. I mean, that's literally our conspiracy theory. Imagine if it was true. Andre Gomez says, if Whitwell says it's unlikely, then I believe that Amorim is pushing for Baleba, but the execs don't really want it to happen or think it's too expensive. I'll tell you now, if Amorim's not getting a goalkeeper and he doesn't get a midfielder, you may as well sack him because my preview's coming out at 2 o'clock and I literally said that in the interview. I literally said that. If we lose to Arsenal on Sunday, you look at the reaction from the press, certain ex-players and certain elements of our fan base. So they better bloody back him. I mean, he won't have Baleba on Sunday anyway, will he? I mean, there's a great point for you. Are we going into that Arsenal game ready? No. I've answered that a bit quick. No. The opening game of this season, and we're not going into it ready. We're not. We're not ready for the start of the season. I don't think. I think Arsenal are better than us and they're more prepared. I mean, I'm not going to give you a spoiler as to what I think will happen on Sunday. That's for the preview, but I don't think we're ready. It's just Sebastian says it was supposed to be a 5 in, 5 out. It's a 3 in and 0 out. So for me, the window is a 3 out of 10. I don't think Baleba will be what people make him out to be either. Well, that's a completely different conversation that you're very much entitled to have. I think Ineos are listening to Beth. She was pushing for Baleba and Mbeumo long before the window opened. Agent Beth says bin. I just want to choose my words here. My words are, I think Beth's absolutely spot on, but I've heard loads of you talking about Baleba last autumn. And I've heard loads of people talking about Mbeumo since Christmas. So I don't think it was I don't think it was Beth who invented it, is what I'm trying to say. Maybe we asked for a loan deal with the buy option, says Carlo. Oh, God, forget it. Forget it. You can't go and say to Brighton, I mean, we did it with Martinez. We did it with Emi Martinez. You can't go to Brighton and say, can we have him on loan to buy? I mean, bloody hell, how thick would we be to do that? Look, this is what I mean, though. The jury's always out on United's owners. People run away with their toxic positivity, and you've got to live in reality. If we don't get Baleba and we don't get a goalkeeper, then it's a bad window, effectively. Can you see a world where we don't get Baleba this window and they go for an alternative second choice target rather than wait, says United Jan? I think you have to, mate. I've said it before, so I'm not going to dwell on it. It's your show, but I think you have to. I don't think you can put your hands up publicly and start shouting, we need a midfielder, we're looking at Baleba, and then you don't get him and you don't get anyone, because you're basically going into the season telling your squad, telling your fans our midfield's not good enough before a ball's even been kicked. So you have to go and get a midfielder. The problem is, who would you get with 2.5 weeks left of the window? 2.5 weeks left of the window. Who are you going to get? Forget Wharton. That won't happen in 2.5 weeks. Forget Yulmland. That won't happen in 2.5 weeks. So I don't know where we go. I don't think we've got enough time. Natch says we need a goalkeeper ASAP. I want to talk about this. It's just so weird. It's just so weird. It really is. So basically, I'll read the update on the goalkeeping situation. So, I mean, there's 2 updates actually, because there's one on, this is what Laurie Whitwell said. Manchester United won't be pursuing Donnarumma. Andre Onana is their goalkeeper. There's conversations whether or not he's going to be their goalkeeper long term, but he doesn't look like he's leaving, so that puts a block on signing a goalkeeper. Ben Jacobs, speaking to Beth this afternoon on the United stand, said that the most likely goalkeeper Man United go for would be Lemens from Royal Antwerp, but they could look at loaning, if they bought him, they could look at loaning him back there for a season. They won't be bringing a number 1 goalkeeper in whilst Andre Onana is here, and Andre Onana believes he's the number 1. So we're not sorry. We're not trying to think of the words here without being offensive. We're not buying a goalkeeper because Manchester United are unable to move Onana. Basically, it's a weird one, isn't it? So we're not going to get, well, I don't believe this, but we might not go for Baleba because he's too expensive. And we're not going to go for Onana because we're not going to remove Onana because he doesn't want to go. I mean, it's incredible to me. I've just had a super chat here from Charlotte saying your daughter is very happy for her first mention. No problem at all. I hope you're having a fantastic time in Greece. Very proud. Thank you very much. Yeah, back on track. I find this really strange. I find it really strange that a club like Manchester United, who want a goalkeeper, are now trying to sell it to the fan base 3 days before the season starts that Onana's really your number 1. But then every journalist that talks about it goes, they probably do want a new goalkeeper, but he won't go, so they can't get one. I find that just so crap as an excuse, to be blunt. Because it's like, it's literally polishing a turd. It's almost like, and I understand that you've got to do it. I said this the other day. Of course, the season's about to start. Onana's got himself back fit. Manchester United can't get rid of him, so suddenly he's their number 1. But we all know the bloody story. Like, you've tried to sell him. You've asked him to go. And it's interesting because Ben Jacobs was saying it's a little bit like Rasmus, but they haven't told Onana, like Rasmus, that they think he should go elsewhere. But I call bullshit on that, not from Ben, but I'm saying, like, Man United aren't going to say to Onana, like they have done to Rasmus, we think you should go elsewhere, because Man United haven't got 4 or 5 other clubs knocking on the door for Rasmus. We've got Milan, Fulham apparently are in now, there's Dortmund, there's a couple of other clubs. So, of course, Man United are going to be saying to Rasmus, oh, we think you should go, because there's people willing to pay money. But with Onana, we can't tell him we want him to go because there's nobody willing to buy him. So that's the problem, isn't it? We're sort of stuck. And as Ben Jacobs said, you can't buy a number 1 goalkeeper when you've got Onana here because he's on a ridiculous wage. I think he's the best paid goalkeeper in the league, more or less. So yeah, it's a strange one. I don't like that one, if I'm being honest, because it feels to me like we wanted to get rid of him. Nobody wants. It's Casemiro all over again, but I obviously rate Casemiro more. But it's Casemiro all over again, isn't it? Man United want to get rid of him, but they can't get rid of him. It's as simple as that. Do you see Baleba or a goalkeeper spill into December? The transfer window's not open in December, Hitton. Unable to move players on, long-standing issues, so structural mastery. But I think I call it the James Garner effect. So you can't, this is great. This is a great point, actually, structural mastery. He says, unable to move players on long-standing issue. So what happens there? You use the James Garner effect. So we sold James Garner to Everton for 15 million because somebody was willing to buy one of our players and we couldn't get rid of who we wanted to. So we need to get money in. So we sell a player that we probably don't really want to get rid of, but we can't get rid of what we want to get rid of. So we need to get some money in. And effectively, it's still happening at the club. We will move on players that we probably wouldn't really want to move on because we can't get rid of the players that we want to get rid of, i.e. Casemiro and Onana are just obviously two players that we want to go. I haven't got a cold, Mark. 6'5", hard as F. He gets the Reds excited. Saw a bid from Newcastle but signed for Man United to hear this singing around, says Jaden, talking about Sheshko. We need an Onana out show every day till he goes, says Parker. I mean, to be honest with you, it's not even that deep. United haven't done enough to get him out. And they've given him an opportunity where he can decide if he's number one man. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. When you listen to what Ben Jacobs was saying and you listen to what Laurie Whitwell was saying, it just reads like this. We want a new goalkeeper, but we can't get one because Onana won't leave. And I look at that and I go, we're Manchester United. We're going into a really important season. And I hope he doesn't, if this goalkeeper makes loads of mistakes, we're all going to sit there going, well, you fucking caused it yourself because you didn't do what needed to be done. What needed to be done is you should have brought a bloody goalkeeper in early to show him he's not going to be the goalkeeper. If we'd brought Lemens in at the start of July and used him on the tour and he played well and he starts against Arsenal, Onana's gone. But we haven't. I don't blame Onana because in no way, shape or form has he had to think he's not the number one. He's decided he's number one because there's nobody. There's nobody. And also the goalkeeping market's good again as well. The goalkeeping market is good. Can we talk about Ricky thinking Shaw is better than De Ligt and Yoro? Lord have mercy. But look, Licky, 1 inch wonder. Ricky is what Ricky is. He has his own opinions. We all love Ricky. And I don't agree with all of his opinions. But I told you no more signings. Brighton won't sell, says Sean Turner. Well, I'll tell you now, if we don't make any more signings, it's a 5 out of 10 window. It is. Why do we always get ripped off when we're selling, says Byron. And Afis says, I turned 25 years of age today. I've watched United stand on and off for 9 years. Love the place to bits. Thank you, Afi, and happy birthday to you. I'm just catching up on a few comments here. Where do we go if this deal doesn't happen? It's okay for Ben and other mainstream... That was from Dale. Martino says, it's okay for Ben and other mainstream journalists to say they have no idea what's happening. They're just afraid to say it, says Martino. If we get a keeper in Baleba, I'd give it a 9, says Luke. Lose less than 10 games this season and Champions League guaranteed. Give an investment 1 game a week and full season. It's minimum required of Amorim. F soccer, I think that's actually ridiculous, but my reasoning behind that is that you're saying that because we're playing 1 game a week and the investment, he should get Champions League football. What investment? He's had a striker and 2 number 10s. Where's the goalkeeper? Where's the midfielder? As somebody just said a few minutes ago, it's meant to be 5 in, 5 out. We've had 3 in and none out. So I don't agree the investment's there. The investment's there if you go and sign Baleba, which I still think we will. But how can you say he's got to get Champions League football for a transfer window that most people would mark as a 5 out of 10, which is below average? Also, I don't believe 1 game a week puts you into Champions League football. Look at the squads that Chelsea have got and Liverpool have got and Arsenal have got and Man City have got. I don't think they're going to struggle because they're playing Champions League football. Also, I don't think we're good enough to get Champions League football at the moment. Even if all our signings do well, I don't think we're good enough. I got my A-levels today and got my place at Uni of Nottingham, says Samo. Thanks for helping me keep me entertained over the last few difficult months. Well done, pal. Well done. Emily Derry says the truth is probably somewhere in between and different journalists have different sources who may have different motivations behind what they share, says Emily. Look, I'm not getting involved in it, but I saw Sky today saying that Rasmus is close to AC Milan. I saw that Fulham might be entering the race. I saw somebody else, another, I'm not going to shout them out actually, but they're a United YouTubing aggregator who pretend that they've got sources talking about Rasmus's preferences, this, that, and the other. I'm not going to do it because people are just saying, oh, you've spoken to the player, this, that, and the other. But he's not close to AC Milan. And he wants to stay at Man United. And that's the case today as it was last week. I think what will happen with Rasmus is that if he's not involved against Arsenal at all, and then he's not involved against Fulham at all, in the final week of the window, it's staring you in the face. You're going to have to do something. But I don't think he's in a rush to go anywhere because he doesn't want to. But I think that, it's a real eye-opener when you know something for a fact and then you see reputable organisations saying something that's not true. It is an eye, and it's very rare you're in that situation. I divide my window rating into 2, says Mojo. I gave it 3 out of 5 for the 3 signings and 1 out of 5 for only Rashford moving out, albeit on loan. So it's a 4 for me. Mojo, lower than me. Do you think 100 million will put pressure on Baleba, says Tyler? I think it's a lot of money, £100 million. But unfortunately, you'd have to be, short-sighted, bordering on blind, to walk into a deal for Baleba expecting to get him for 60 or 70 million pounds. Like they literally sold Caicedo for 100 million pounds. So his price is 100 million pounds. You can't negotiate with Brighton. They don't need to negotiate. Why should they give us a cheap deal when in a year's time one of the Champions League clubs will come in and give him 100 million pounds? So look, I'm absolutely, I said this about Brentford as well. We were never going to drive Brentford down, and we're never going to drive Brighton down. We're not going to drive them down. So we've either got the money or we haven't. Never forget we want Glazers out, says Byron. Congratulations on results, Mark. What uni are you going to? Matthew, very, very funny. If sales weren't needed to bid for Baleba, we surely go for a goalkeeper after selling Rasmus, Garnacho and Sancho. If we don't get a new goalkeeper, we bottled it, says Mario. Marky Mark, how you doing? Let's start the show with some positivity. Let's go and let's make this show a legend, says Shawshank. Like that. And Swami says, in a work meeting, muted that, got the Goldbridge gaffer on. I'm treated poorly at work, so sod them. Up United stand, excited for United's progress. Thank you very much, Swami. Well, look, there was a passing reference to selling Sancho there. Interestingly, I mean, it is breaking news. It's been broken news for about 4 hours, and yet I'm mentioning it half an hour into a show 4 hours later. So Roma apparently are willing to spend £20 million on Jadon Sancho. And at that point, I yawn because I'm bored to the back teeth of talking about Jadon Sancho. I just got no interest in it. I've got no investment in this at all, because what will probably happen is they won't be able to afford his wages and he won't go. So it's a bit, look, AC Milan want Rasmus, he doesn't want to go. I've learned this summer that clubs can want players and they don't want to go. We did it with De Jong. I never understand why clubs do it. Why do you bid for players that don't want to come? You surely ask the player first. And I'm reading the update on Sancho. Roma are willing to give Man United £20 million, but the difficulty will be negotiating with Sancho. Well, maybe you should have done that first. So, look, if we can get 20 million for Sancho, brilliant. But when it happens, if it happens, I just want it to be explained to me like I'm an idiot. Because I do not understand why he turned down a very good wage at Chelsea and then you'd go to Roma on less money and United get 20 million quid. I don't understand what his game is. Because my belief with Sancho has always been that with 1 year left on his contract, he will go somewhere on loan and in a year's time, like Casemiro, be free. Freedom, he loves that, to earn ridiculous money as a free agent. So I don't understand why we would get £20 million and he would agree to it. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say about Sancho, because we've been here before. He's going to Chelsea. Oh, it's not actually an obligation to buy. Oh, he's going to Juventus. No, he's not. I just... And also, he's the most uninteresting player that we're trying to sell, because I'm bored of him. I thought he'd gone already. So, do you see... I've done that one. Thank you very much. I thought he was going to say, do you see dead people? It's not the bloody Sixth Sense. Not Bruce Willis. It's horrible what's happened to Bruce Willis. Legend. Good evening. You missed my super chat, Mark, says Marlo. These things happen. These things happen. I'll go back to it, John. Marlo. There is no... But honestly, there are so many super chats coming in. I'm warning you now. I've always said it's impossible to read all of them when you're trying to run a show. I try to read all of them. Some channels don't read them at all. So just be wary of that. It has always been a disclaimer. But I do pretty much cover them all. Is the Coca-Cola sponsor funding the Baleba deal, says Pablo? Don't know. Watched the show this morning with Terry. He's much better at that stuff than me. There is no way we get top 5 with this keeper. It's such an easy upgrade. I watched Goldbridge reacts to an Arna mistakes compilation. It's a crime scene. I didn't even do that, John. What's this Goldbridge reacts to? I want to watch it because I didn't film it. I would get Pablo Mal from Brazil. He's 23, defensive midfielder, over 100 club appearances, made his Brazil debut in 24. Good January option. Who does he play for? Jack. On Brighton, they've just sold João Pedro. Selling Baleba is a huge risk for them if they want to stay up. They're absolutely not bringing the price down. Our ownership is clueless if they want that. Andre. As we've said, if we have spent the last week and a half talking to Baleba and then Brighton say 100 million and we walk away, I'm sorry, I'd have to agree it was pure spin. To kill a couple of weeks in the window on something they knew that was never going to happen. You cannot get the fan base fired up on what would be an incredible deal and then go, it was too expensive. Because every single United fan will go, you what? You're walking away because he's too expensive? We all knew he was that price. What are you doing? You basically killed 2 weeks of the transfer window on hype. You've just used us for clicks. So I don't expect us to walk away because I think the price was always obvious. NR13 says, what's the Baleba update, mate? Go back and watch the start of the show. It's convoluted and has many twists and turns. This window, and also it's not fair on everyone else to go back and start talking about stuff again that we've moved on from and are progressing. This window is a 3. These players need to be here for pre-season, not after it, says Christian Flores. If Sesko doesn't live up to his reputation, then we don't have a good striker backup option, says Tanush. If Sesko gets injured, we don't have good striker options. If Sesko doesn't adjust to the Premier League quickly, we don't have good striker options. We are very, very thin on the ground if it doesn't go right with Sesko. And people say Xerxes, but I could say Xerxes is not a striker. I could also say Xerxes had 2 injuries in the last 4 months and not played. So maybe he's an injury-prone player. We don't actually know a lot about Xerxes. Very talented, but we don't know whether he's a striker. We don't know whether he's going to be injury-prone. So, you know, we could be light. Will it be even easy to offload Onana next season? Mate, offloading Onana is impossible. The reason we're keeping him is because we can't sell him. If you want me to break it down, the reason Onana is our #1 goalkeeper is because we want to get rid of him, but nobody will buy him, so we keep him. And it's effectively the story of Man United for the last decade. It's why Victor Lindelof was here for 8 years. We keep shit because we won't just get rid of it because we're money motivated. We're probably one of the only clubs in the Premier League or in Europe that keeps shit because we can't get rid of it. So basically what United do is... why did I think about a vibrator? I was trying to think of something battery operated. So I may as well just go with that now. So you've got one of those and the batteries have run out and you clearly need new batteries, but you keep the old ones in because you don't want to buy new ones while the old ones are in. It's completely nonsensical. And that's basically what United are doing. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. Because this thing is clearly not working, but it's too expensive to replace it, so we'll keep it. And we've been doing it for years. And in football, it's the worst thing in the world to do. Because everybody knows it's there in 4K that you need to make a change. But it's clearly not going to happen because nobody wants him. And that's where United go wrong. If they've got a player, like when you think about the players that have left Man United, Rashford, Barcelona wanted him. Lindelof and Eriksen, they were out of contract. Very easy to champion of, oh, look at us clearing house. Yeah, 2 of them are out of contract, and one of them, you know, basically did all the work themselves to get a Barcelona move. Garnacho's still here. Antony's still here because they're waiting at the end of the window to rip you off. Malacia's here because no one wants him. Your goalkeeper's going to be your number 1 again because no one wants him because he was shit. I mean, let's be honest. The reason nobody wants Onana is because they've actually got eyes. Nobody wants him because of the reason a lot of us want to replace him. I mean, let's be very, very clear here. The reason we can't sell Onana is because the rest of the world don't think he's very good. And United are there trying to polish a turd going, we never wanted to sell him anyway. Oh, that's why you approached Villa for Emi Martinez. That's why you told Monaco it was £30 million. You do want to replace him for the same reason nobody wants to bloody buy him. Because he actually isn't that good. If he was a half-decent goalkeeper, there'd be people coming in going, we'll give you 20 million, or we'll take him on loan with an obligation to buy. Because what people don't realise is, we don't even need to sell him. If we loaned him and someone covered his wages, we could still bring a goalkeeper in. But nobody will even take him on loan because his wages are ridiculous. So, sometimes you've got to break it down. The reason he's our number 1, and the reason we can't sell him, is because everybody can see they ain't very good. Nobody bloody wants him. So what you're meant to do as a football club is go, well, nobody will take him off our hands because they think he's crap. The worst thing we can do is put him back in goal. We've got to take a hit. We've got to take a hit somewhere. We've got to force him out. But United go, no, you can play in goal. Emi Martinez was desperate to come to Man United as well. Absolutely desperate. So no, Cavos, it won't be easy to offload him next season. Nice could buy Onana if no one else is interested, says Carlo. They can't, mate, because it's £30 million or we lose money, and it's 150 grand a week wages. So there isn't. It's the same mistake again, isn't it? Look, hopefully it won't happen with Cunha and Burmo or Šeško, but with Onana, we've done what we always do. Big contract, big wage, doesn't live up to it. No one's going to pay it, so you're stuck. You're stuck. We dropped our pants in the middle of town with no plan. The Baleba deal has to happen because it makes absolutely no sense if it doesn't, says Mateus. On a positive note, I think it will happen with Baleba. I know there's a lot of journalists saying it won't, but I'd find it absolutely incredible that United have done what they've done, and then if they pull out... I mean, all I can say again is, if we pull out of the deal for Baleba because he's too expensive, I'd love to know what we thought we were going to pay. I mean, that would be crazy. Why is Roma bidding 20 million? I swear United would take 10 in a heartbeat. Ruben is a shark, says Marconi. I don't even know what that means. We need to be more ruthless, says Marlow. Liverpool going for Isak despite having Ekitike. City going for Donnarumma despite having Trafford. Onana must be forced out, says Marlow. Chelsea going for Pedro despite having Delap. Arsenal getting Norgard in despite having Zubamendi in. I think this has been the summer of depth. You know, Mascara's not going to start for Arsenal. Kepa's not going to start for Arsenal. Madueke probably doesn't start for Arsenal. Norgard won't start for Arsenal. Ekitike might not start for Liverpool. They're going to bring 2 centre-backs in. These clubs ahead of us are now building super squads. And we're not even building a team. You know, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City are going into this season in the Champions League building backup players. Man United are going into this season and they've got major holes in their first team, which should have been plugged. Do you think with the change of front line and the attackers we'll get Champions League, says Tanush? I've said 5th, mate. I've predicted 5th, so it's there on my Premier League predictions. I can't move away from that. But I watched Spurs last night. That's something I wanted to bring in. I watched Spurs last night. New manager. System works straight away. And they've got a hell of a squad. And Ange massively underachieved. So Spurs could be an outside shout for 5th. I think Spurs are the dark horse, really. And look, very, very quickly, Gary Neville says Man United 9th. I'd have to see that quote to get the context of it. Look, I'm allowed my opinion. I don't detect, and I don't think he would admit it, but I don't detect that Carragher, Neville, Scholes actually rate Amrim. I don't think Scholes rates him because I think Scholes wants to see as a back four. He thinks we should play, but I respect that. I've got no problem with people having a different opinion to me if I understand where they're coming from, which is why I get on with Ricky. But yeah, I don't detect that they like Amrim, and not like they dislike it. Sorry, my nose is really itchy today because the builders have been in whacking a wall down and there's just dust everywhere. It's probably why I sound like I've got a bit of a cold. But yeah, I don't detect that they actually like Amrim. Not that they dislike him, but they don't like his football. But I wanted to jump back on what I said there because some people said, look, Frank can get his system working in a few weeks, but Amrim can't get it done in a few months. Thomas Frank's system's quite basic. Ruben Amrim's system is very complex. So it's like saying it would take Pep or Klopp a few months to get their team going, but it might take somebody like Sean Dyche or David Moyes a week because it's quite basic in the way that Thomas Frank plays counter-attacking football most of the time. So, but I think Spurs do look quite good. So, yeah. Sign Donnarumma, stick Onana in midfield. We save 100 million, says Bin. Do you see Baleba or a keeper? No, I've done that one from Hittin. Thank you very much. So, no, to answer the question, I have to stick by what I said, 5th. But what I will say is, without a goalkeeper and a midfielder, I'm exposed. So maybe Gary Neville's saying 9th based on the fact that he doesn't think we'll get a goalkeeper or a midfielder, in which case he might not be far off. I mean, I think 9th is a bit low. I don't think even with what we've got now, we shouldn't finish below 8th. But without a midfielder and without a goalkeeper, it's probably ridiculously ambitious to put us into the top 5, really. Here we go. Coming, says Kelton. EPL starts Saturday. Wife is already pissed, says TK. Starts tomorrow, mate. We will be live at 7 tomorrow because I will be moving over to That's Football at 8 for the opening Premier League game, Liverpool against Bournemouth on That's Football. Ash, hope you're doing well. He says, it makes me really mad we signed players then didn't just get then just didn't times 2, 3 their wages. We seem to have times 10s them. Seems crazy to me and leaves us real problems. I don't think that's true, Ash. I mean, we have done that in the past with people like Anthony and Sancho, but I'm pretty sure that Cunha's wage isn't that much different from what he was on at Wolves in his last few months. You say the club keeps crap players, but you want Rasmus to stay, says Jason. But Jason, I mean, in all honesty, if we're going to have a mature debate, that's just subjective. So I would keep Rasmus because I think he's played up front at 20 and 21 with selfish players behind him and no support. I think now with Cunha and Mbeumo in this system in Amrim, I think he'll do better. I also think we need more than one striker. So I would keep Rasmus, yes. You would say you think he's shit and he should go. That's absolutely fine. But let's play the game, Jason. We disagree on Rasmus, and many of us will. But are you telling me that when I say the club keeps crap players, are you telling me that you disagree with me that Onana's crap? Mark, is there more selling values in new signings than what we had before if they fail? Like Chelsea, current value of Sancho, Anthony, Garnacho is sad. I don't know what that means, Aish. I'm a bit thick. Chelsea are brilliant at this, ruthless and aggressive, often get a decent price and have enough to ostracise and force the player to find the move, says Emily Derry. Look, if we're being completely honest, Emily, Onana wouldn't be Chelsea's number 1. He wouldn't be Man City's number 1. He wouldn't be Liverpool's number 1. And he wouldn't be Arsenal's number 1 in this circumstance. They'd have got him out. And I'm sure it's frustrating, but we've got a new CEO. We've got a new director of football. We've got a new manager. We've got a new partial owner. And we're still doing exactly what Ollie, Woodward and Joel were doing. Keeping shit players that we can't get rid of. So it's still a problem, even with new ownership. We haven't figured out how to get players out so that we can replace them. I'm good, Mark. Thank you. I meant in the past, says Ash. Thank you, pal. We need a midfielder desperately, and Amrin wants Baleba. Not just the midfielder, but the player. We should be getting him. It's his number one choice. Mike, I'm going to, put it out there again. I'm not worried about this. I think a lot of journalists are being asked for their opinion, and that is why they're saying the price is difficult. Brighton don't want to sell. I think it's unlikely. I don't think they're doing it from a position of knowledge because I don't think they're involved. I don't think even David Ornstein or Fabrizio Romano are involved. So, excuse me for having an opinion as well. My opinion, and look, it's not in the Athletic, is it? It's on the United Stand. But my opinion is, I don't believe that Manchester United would allow David Ornstein to put it out there that we're in talks with Baleba unless we were going to get him. I do not believe that we would be happy for that story to be out there for what is approaching 10 days, knowing that we don't have the money to buy him. So my theory is that we've put it out there that we're in talks with him. Brighton know we're in talks with him. And effectively, we will end up getting him. It's just about negotiating and finding a price. And as I've said before, you don't have to give them £100 million. You can give them £80 million and give them 30 in add-ons that are achievable. And I think that is the way to a deal for Manchester United. Ultimately, I think it comes down to negotiating. I absolutely take on board that we will not have £100 million to give them, but we might be able to negotiate with them, and I think they're open to it, because they always are. I think we'll get him, effectively. And if we do get him, then I'm going to be one of the very few that think we can, because most people I'm reading in the industry are saying, "Oh, it's unlikely." How do you get rid of dust? I've got one of them air filters, and it says the air's good, but it's not. It's dusty, dusty. Is there a new red wine making its debut? Says Flip Disc. Well, at the moment, I'm on this tonight. 0. And I quite like it because I do like Guinness, but I actually quite like not having the alcohol. It's a placebo anyway. I feel like I am getting it, but no. Polish just displaces it. Who is your one to watch for us this year, says Dylan? I think Dorgu is going to go up, 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 up. Yoro obviously is going to go up, up, up. I'd love, the player I'd love to say. Let me phase it to you. Let me flip that question. So instead of who's the one to watch, who's the player that you really want to have a glow up this season? Because for me, I'd love it to be Mainu. I'd love Mainu to get back where he was in his breakout season as a player at Manchester United that does really, really well. Tony says Forest are making moves. I think they've got McAtee, haven't they? Pedro says, I don't think we will walk away from Baleba. Some people are saying Mason Mount. The problem with Mount is I just don't think he'll stay fit. I mean, I've got to say, at the moment, Luke Shaw and Mason Mount being fit at the same time for more than 2 weeks has got to be some sort of record. Apparently, the Guinness Book of Records turned up at Carrington today, but they weren't allowed in. But the news broke the day after the protests are announced. Hope it's not spin, says Pedro. P says we need to force Onana out. We have no choice if we want to move forward. If he stays, he will worry the players in front of him. No. Look, it can't be hate. It can't be agenda. At the end of the day, where does the blame lie for us not getting a new goalkeeper? It's with the board. It's with the club. You can't blame Onana for going, as I said the other night, I want to stay. I want to be the number one. And I am the number one. Why would I leave? If they bring another goalkeeper in, I think he would go. But he's got no reason to go. So we can't force him out. United should do their job. JB says, I watched FMS, How to Destroy a Giant, regarding how all the changes from Moyes to Amrin. I concluded for 10 years that we don't have two centre midfielders that can do it all. Our midfield's been shit for years, JB. I mean, we were neglecting our midfield in the Sir Alex days. I mean, Roy Keane was getting on in the mid-noughties, and then he got booted out, but he was getting on. Like, Roy Keane hit problems, didn't replace him. Carrick did come in, didn't replace him. Scholes played on way too long because we needed him to. We've neglected our midfield for 20 years. In that time, the only midfielders that we've had, I mean, as I said, Roy Keane was gone. Carrick's really the only specialist midfielder that we've had in 20 years that was decent. Well, hello. Midfields are a midfield too, at least. So we've really neglected it. Oh, this dust is horrible. F Soccer says, last season Newcastle lost 12 games and got 5th. Season before, Spurs the same. If United lose more than 12 games this season, Amrin will have to go. No, he won't. No, he won't. I mean, that's just subjective, Soccer, and it's nice that you think he should get sacked if he doesn't finish 5th. But you're telling me if Amrin finishes 7th, you're going to sack him and do what? Bring in another guy that needs another 300 million, that's got another pile of shit to get rid of, that you're going to demand he gets top 4 with. I mean, at some point, you've got to stick with it and accept that we've tried to do this so many times. Jack says, plays for Santos in Brazil. But there is, of course, I'm not saying that Amrim is bulletproof in relation to his job. If we're going to the bottom half of the table, I think he's going to be in trouble. Excited about Baleba, and I think we'll get him, says Rashid, but I still think there's something there with Agate that come to the fore this season, says Rashid. I mean, I like Agate, but it's very similar to Mainu. If you get Baleba, what's happening? What's going on with Anthony? He's sat on his arse, Josh, at the end of the day. Waiting to go to Betis on a loan where we pay his wages. The top 4 are building their squad for the future, but we are loaning to buy players for present because we don't have a good enough squad to compete with the top, says Tanush. I think Yoro eventually joins Madrid for free. There's no way he chooses over them. I think they told him to come to us and run his contract down, says Tom. PSG kicked Donnarumma to the curb. Why not the same with Onana, says Andrew. Because PSG... I mean, this is a brilliant point from Andrew. This is exactly what we should do. PSG, with the world's best goalkeeper, because he won't sign a new contract, have gone, we've bought your replacement, piss off. Who does that? You've got a guy who's just won you the Champions League. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the world. You're worried that he's going to run his contract down. So you basically say, I'm not going to pick you, and you buy a replacement for 35 million quid. But that's what you do. That's literally what a big club does. What do Man United do? Will you go? No. Okay, you're number 1. But we're a football club. We're not a bloody business. A football club would do what PSG is doing. My opinion is that Ruben's system is most difficult as it requires specific player profiles. What would you say is the key lesson Amrim has learned, says Sizwi, that he doesn't have the players? And he's had to adjust. I mean, again, I'm not going to ruin the preview, but I expect there will be players on the bench on Sunday. Look, when we're doing the watch along on Sunday, I very much suspect the countdown to kick off and my bit before we kick off will be full of people kicking off because one of their favourite players or 2 of their favourite players aren't starting. I think he has... Look, if Amrim's system's working well, you'd have Ahmad on the right. You'd have Dorgu on the left. Šeško, Mbeumo, Cunha. Guarantee that's not his front 5, or that 5 is not the team he picks on Sunday because he knows he'll get beat. So he will implement a more defensive counter-attacking system. And I think we see a back 5 and counter-attacking football from Amrim way more than he ever did it at Sporting. He did do it at Sporting sometimes, but I think that's how he deals with players that can't play his system. We become a bit of a counter-attacking team. Ben says mainly would be my hopeful breakout player, but it'd be nice to see Martinez back. Yeah, I mean, look, with Martinez, it's always been after the September international break. I know people get excited about seeing him, but it was always that, and it might not even be that. Agate for me, done that from Bees. Pedro says, Arteta, Pep, Klopp all had multiple years to rebuild. We need to do the same with Amrim or we will never develop a style of play. Exactly, I agree. I'd love to be an Arna because it's the least likely. Says Ben. Oh, he'd love an Arna to have a great season. Well, if he's going to be the goalkeeper, I agree. Do you think the plan is to get Baleba for 100 million plus and sell Bruno next summer for 100 million, mainly with them replacing him? Well, it's our conspiracy theory, Mark, and we've been talking about it for a while, but even Ben Jacobs mentioned it today, so maybe there is something in that little bit of guesswork. Emily Derry says, reputationally, the club can't afford to play games around players like Baleba. The fans would explode and we'd be banter to everyone else. Yeah, exactly. This is another way of looking at it as well. I think we'll get Baleba because of what's happened publicly. Emily is saying if we don't get him, it's embarrassing because we've put it out there publicly that we want him and then we walk away, we'll get bantered. What do you think of João Gomez if not Baleba, says Tez? I don't think there's any time. I think I don't for one, I don't see why we'd walk away. And two, I don't think there's time to go and get a replacement. Mario24 says we need to be keeping Rasmus. He would be key player for us on the bench. Injuries happen in a season, so squad depth is key. I agree. I think we're underestimating the chance for players like Onana having a rebound season if the team as a whole plays better. Improving our attack will help cover up our defensive deficiencies, as Manjula. And I would love that to be the case, mate. I would love that to be the case. But what you're completely ignoring is that footballers technically can just have a shit season and a good season and a shit season and a good season and there's no cause and effect. Now, that can happen, but why did Onana have a shit season? And why did he have a shit season before that? Because technically he's not a very good goalkeeper. So to be a good goalkeeper, you would have to be somebody that when a shot comes in, you not only put your arm out, but you twist it so that you tip it away from danger. Is he going to suddenly learn that? Is he going to learn that because he's top heavy with his body, is he going to do things that allow him to get down lower? Is he going to come for crosses more convincingly? So, as much as I like what you're saying, Manjula, I think you're underestimating the fact that it's not just a light switch to have a bad season and a good season. There will be a cause for it. And with him, in my opinion, and many other people I've spoken to, including ex-player and goalkeeping coaches, etc., they don't rate him. On a technical level, he's not rated. And I'm not going to shout the names of the people who've said that, but these are goalkeeping coaches at decent clubs. These are ex-players who've played at a high level. I'm good, Mark. Thank you. Says Ashweir. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to have to stop because I'm really starting to cough a lot. But I do want to do a bit of an after show because I didn't do a show last night. Gabriel says, are we going to play counter-attacking against Arsenal? Cunha and Mbeumo would be effective. Well, Mbeumo is the quintessential counter-attacking player if you think about how Brentford played. And Arna isn't at the standard that we need. Could it be just to keep morale high for Mbeumo and Baleba to settle in? It's A-level. You can't have cheerleaders in your team. You can't put shit players in your team just to help other people settle. You know, this is high-end football. It's like being headhunted by Apple and then saying, can I bring my mate Steve? What does he do? Well, not a lot. It just makes you feel happy. I want De Ligt to have a monster season and shut up the media and the haters once and for all. I don't understand the De Ligt complaints. I really don't. Andy, what do you think Amrim actually believes this team is capable of doing this season? I mean, I think Amrim's aspirations, Jaden, are going to be the same as the most optimistic of us. I think a trophy and 5th place would be a really good season for us, and I think he will look at that as realistic. I mean, you dare to dream, but... Jack, sorry, not Santos. He plays for Sao Paulo. I got them both mixed up. That's my bad. Thank you very much, Jack. Appreciate that. Tanu says, read it again. I got it wrong. Wanted to say looking. Mark, the top 4 are looking there. Yeah, we did. I got the gist of it. Don't worry. I did. Okay, thanks everyone for watching. Over 20,000 of you watching on a Thursday night is absolutely fantastic. Remember, tomorrow night it's a 7 o'clock show, not an 8 o'clock show, because I'll be doing Liverpool against Bournemouth, and I am back on the 10 o'clock show tomorrow. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash the like and subscribe. I'll speak to you on the next one. Right, quick after show, because the atmosphere in here is not good. It's starting my nose to run, and I'm starting to feel a bit coffee. And I don't want that. So the only coffee I want is one in a bloody mug, not in my throat. I was thinking today, I was listening to something today, actually, and I thought I'll bring this in. I've stole it from, what was it? I was listening to Alan Partridge from the Oast House, and he was answering questions from his audience. And one of them said, and I thought, I've got to bring this in. One of them said, Alan, tell me something that you didn't used to like, but that you like now. And don't say pegging or anything like that. We're talking about food. Because it got me thinking, well, I'll ask my audience that. But I used to hate crispy seaweed from the Chinese. If you've ever had it, I love it now. I love the taste of it. I used to dislike avocado. I really like that now. And one more, I never liked mango. I just didn't trust it. And I do quite like that now as well. Lovely stuff. But it got me thinking about things from the past that I like now. And most of the things from the past you're not allowed to like now, are you? We live in this cancel culture era. And time again, I see I have a real problem. I don't know about you. I have a real problem with people who get cancelled from things they did a long time ago. And I'm not talking about Jimmy Savile or anything like that. I mean, quite rightly, he is dead. Unfortunately, he didn't really pay for his crimes, but, you know, we all know what he was. A nonce. But what I am talking about is, like, you know, I think we've all got relatives who are no longer with us that, if we were being completely honest, you would say they had an ist after it, you know, whether it be sexist, you know, whatever, because that's what happened in them times. It doesn't make it right, but I'm not a big fan of, like, you know, like Little Britain. No, not Little Britain. Not Come Fly With Me. Wholly inappropriate now. You wouldn't be allowed to do it because it's Matt Lucas and David Walliams dressed up in different ethnicities, different sexes, you know, playing on stereotypical accents. At the time, it was very funny. But now it's castigated to a point where if you are Matt Lucas or David Walliams, you're almost a criminal because you dared to write it 20 years ago. But it was really funny at the time, and I used to laugh at it. And that's sort of like what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about murderers who, you know, I don't think, like, if the police find some DNA on a murderer and say, you murdered them, didn't you, 25 years ago? Yeah, I did, but come on, it's 25 years ago, let me off. We were all at it. No, we weren't all at it. You're a bloody murderer. You're going to prison. You're absolute shit. But I do think, like, when people, they try and cancel people because, you know, they were doing things that maybe 10, 20 years ago were more acceptable. I mean, for example, right? If I was on doing a live stream now and I got a newspaper out and I went, oh, let's go to page 3. Look at the pair of those bazookas. I would be quite rightly castigated by women and supporters of women, right? And yet, when I had a paper round, when I was 15, 20, 30 years ago, I'd have a little quick look at page 3 and the Sun. I mean, to me, I used to do a paper round, and I was very lucky on my paper round because there was no one looking. But I'd have the Mail, the Times, the Telegraph, the Sun, the Mirror. I had quite a fair play. One thing I will say about the people on my paper round, they were diverse. Somebody used to get the Daily Sport, which I just was total shit. But it would have boobs in it. But that you know, when I used to look at when I would pick up the Sun to post it to someone's house, it was sort of 50-50 whether you went to page 3 or the back page. Totally. What do they call it? What do they call it? What do they call it when you admire women's breasts on a newspaper? Is it objectivism or I don't know what it is. It's banned now anyway. So my point is that I almost feel like certain celebrities and people, I don't have any names in mind, people tried to cancel them for things they did 10, 20 years ago that everybody was doing 10 or 20 years ago. Objectifying, that's it, Jerry. And I don't like it. And I don't care whether people disagree with me or not. And I think page 3 in the Sun is a brilliant example. I mean, who remembers Nuts magazine? Who remembers bloody FHM magazine? Lads magazines in the late 90s, early noughties, very popular. You know? You wouldn't be able to do it now. And quite rightly so. But I'm just saying, you can't criticise people for doing it 25 years ago because that's what the world was like then. And thank God we don't have magazines now of scantily clad, beautiful women that we can buy for a reasonable price to look at. You know, I think it's objectifying women, and I'm very glad that we don't have those magazines anymore. Even though some of the articles were very interesting. Maxim was another one. No, not that I used to get them, but I mean, bloody hell, Jordan. What was the other one called? There was what was her name? You'll know her name. Made a bloody career out of it. OnlyFans is even worse. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Exactly. You're not allowed, and I just want to say, quite rightly, you're not allowed to have those sort of things anymore. OnlyFans is a bloody disgrace. An absolute disgrace. And that just shows you that these people want to do it anyway. Jodie Marsh, that was who I was talking about. Sports Illustrated, isn't it? I don't think, Mrs. Stone. I think that's actually a legitimate sports enterprise. Some people don't understand sarcasm, by the way. People are saying woke bridge. Mark's about to do an OnlyFans channel, says Cameron. Mate, I don't even know how it works. And but I know they make a lot of money. Somebody was telling me the other day, ridiculous money. People pay thousands for toes, says Jordan. I'm not doing an OnlyFans. Bloody no way. Oh, apparently Olympians take off their clothes for Sports Illustrated, says Swedish. No, anyway, so what I was going to say is, no, but this is probably the worst question in the world. What was something that was acceptable 20 years ago that now isn't? Smoking in pubs. Get your moves out, says Owen. I tell you what, there was probably stuff that was going on in the 90s that needed to stop. But there's a lot of stuff going on in the 90s that stopped that needs to come back. That's why it's great to see Oasis back, isn't it? Yeah, smoking on planes, Garfield. I don't know how that ever happened. I mean, I actually must say, smoking on planes... I mean, I'm not saying it's up there with sexism, but... like, that needed to get sorted out. But smoking on planes, bloody hell. What were we thinking? What were we thinking? I mean, when I flew to New York, right, the flight was taken off and it had the seatbelt sign on. And I was like, shit, in my overhead luggage, I've got my laptop plugged into a portable charger. And it was making me panic because I was thinking, what if it overheats and catches fire? And then it does like a Final Destination thing where it starts catching fire through the hand luggage cupboards above me. And then it hits a very important wire that starts a chain reaction that explodes the wings. I mean, it didn't happen, obviously. I'm sat here now, but sat smoking on a plane. I don't get, what the hell? What the hell? How did we let that happen? Health and safety improvements have to be said are a good thing. Have to be a good thing. Smoking in cinemas. I mean, I couldn't believe it when you had to stop smoking in pubs. I've just finished watching. A lot of people vape these days, don't they? I've just finished watching Industry, which is based in London. It's all around the financial sector, and they all seem to smoke in that. I don't think many people do smoke now, though, do they? Not as much as they used to. They're a dying breed. Literally. Nicked that from Alan Partridge. Hi, Mark. What's one of your favourite stories from a previous job you can say? I haven't got time, Dominic. I haven't got time. My nose is starting to run. It's a Thursday. I remember it's not a good, but you know what? This is exactly my point, right? If I got like lung cancer or something like that, I'd look back to my upbringing and I'd go, I remember driving from Nottingham to Skegness 2 hours with the windows up and they were both smoking in the front. Like, you're literally smoking. You're in a bloody small confined smaller than a room with 2 people in the front smoking. I remember watching Coronation Street when I was like 7 or 8 and my mum would be sat next to me smoking in the living room right next to me and I'd put a pillow over my face. I wasn't suicidal. I mean, I'd just be like, didn't like the smell, so I'd rather breathe the smell of a pillow. But this was normal behaviour in most people's houses. So if I got lung cancer, I'd probably go, well, look, that might be a reason why I got it. But everybody was doing it. And that's my whole point. Like, I don't like it when people get blamed for things they did at a time when everyone else was doing it, you know? I'm not saying bring back page 3. That was not the mic drop. No, I don't think it should be brought back. I never really understood what it was all about. I suppose you've got to be. For me, I'd want to see. No, leave it there. Okay. It's a football channel. Right. Thanks everybody for watching. Always enjoy the after show. Always interesting conversations. Why does Garnacho vape? I don't even know if he does. Watching whatever was on TV and waiting a week for the next episode and waiting for the paper to see the TV schedule, says Mrs. Stone. Well, a lot of you, just bring it back to football for a moment. A lot of you will be heading on your holidays, been on your holidays, or are on your holidays. Get your head around this. And this was 1992. I'm on holiday in 1992. 2-week holiday to Ibiza with my dad, his wife, my sister, and her 2 kids. 2 weeks in Ibiza, Playa d'Embossa, yeah? I get up in the night to go for a drink, and there's my stepmom, totally naked. I'm joking. That's not the story. The story is, so we're on holiday in 1992. The season's just started, so it's probably around this time, however many years ago. This is how I found out Man United scores, right? So on a Monday, let me get this right. So Man United played, let's say Man United played on the Saturday at 3 o'clock. I didn't know the score till Monday morning because the papers were 2 days behind. And people in the chat will be going, I know, you're right. Well, I couldn't get on teletext because I was in a bloody hotel in Ibiza. You didn't have a TV in your room. There was like a communal TV area playing bloody foreign stuff. I don't know, it was bloody Spanish or something. So they didn't have bloody teletext, and if they did, I wouldn't have been able to read it. So your newspaper used to be 2 days behind. So me and my dad would go down the local shop. I knew United had played on the Saturday at 3 o'clock, and then get the paper on a Sunday. That would be Saturday morning's paper. So Monday morning, I get Sunday morning's paper, which would tell me the score. The thing that annoyed me is, and I did say it to my dad, you phoned your mum and dad twice on this holiday to make sure that you've, locked the back door and, picked up the post. Can't we ring them up now and say, what's the score in the Man United game? No. That's true. That was, I don't know at what point that changed, but that was true. You had to wait a couple of days for the papers. The worst one was when you bought a paper and there wasn't a match report. It just said Man United 0, Crystal Palace 1. And you were like, well, I need context. I need teletext. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Nice to be back. Why wasn't I on shows? Last night, because I did the Super Cup, so Terry did the 7 o'clock. This morning, because my daughter's in Greece, and you had to go to the school to get the A-level results between 8 and 10. So I couldn't do the morning show. Beth was always doing the 2 o'clock show. So I'm back at 8 o'clock, which is this. So yeah, it's because I missed the morning show, really. Thanks everyone for watching. I am back tomorrow. Fantastic community. You're absolute legends. Keep spreading the word for the United Stand wherever you are around the world. Make sure you subscribe. And the Premier League is back literally tomorrow. I'm very excited. And little treat. My preview is coming out in 5 hours. 2 a.m. UK time. The preview for the Arsenal game is dropping. So get ready for that. I'll be back with you at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Got the press conference tomorrow. We're reacting to that from Amarim. So it's all back now. It's all back. Very excited. Don't forget to check out FOTMob as well. It's brilliant. You'll really enjoy it. It's free, brilliant. And they've got some really good stuff coming out as well for the start of the Premier League season around distance covered and stuff, which is a stat I've always struggled to find. And now we're going to have it. Speak to you in a bit.